The very first impression of Almere, I'm afraid it was right in the centre, in fact, on the top level of the car park. And I looked out on this concrete world. It seemed to me desolation. And my immediate thought was, how come the people who built the most beautiful domestic architecture in the entire world ever could do this to themselves? Now I realize that perhaps it was Dutch communism inspired, so a very mild form of communism, whereby I think the planners thought, if we build houses which are identical, put everybody in the same concrete blocks, then the differences, the class system will disappear. And that didn't really work, as anyone can see. And then went to the other extreme. In the 19th century, you'd say you went from extreme socialism to extreme individualism. In other words, sort of unlicensed capitalism. You can buy a plot and you don't need planning permission thereafter, and you can make your own house. Now, that's fun to visit. My God, there are houses built like pyramids. There's a glass house, mirror house. So I enjoy all that. But the real impression was perhaps a false impression, because the municipality put us up in a wonderful place, the old diving school. Now this is half built out over water. So quiet, so beautiful, looking out on a wild, wild island that really nobody visited, and so wild that there actually was a pair of goshawk living there, Harvick, and you'd see them. Heaven, in a way. Well, if we're allowed to include the Oostvaardersplassen, I mean, that's part of Almere, really. That's the most extraordinary, wonderful place. I first went there when it was being set up 30 years ago, and the trees were this high, and now it's all mature, except that all the trees are gone, of course, because it's now like a vast ranch with chaotically breeding heck cattle and bison and European bison and red deer. It's crying out for several packs of wolves. So that's a special case. But round it, there are traditional, beautiful reserves, the Lepelaarplassen, the Spoonbill lake, ravishingly lovely, and you can see the Almere towers from it. It's extraordinary. There are the Spoonbill. Here are shovelers, these beautiful duck going round and round and round, stirring up the mud. Hundreds of them, absolutely packed with wildlife, nightingales singing, and all within touch of the city. And then there's another little reserve I really like, just by the Oostvaardersplassen, the other side of the little road. And there you can see a black winged stilt on her nest. Extraordinary. Oh, a vast amount of inspiration, yes. A lot of knowledge to absorb. But, well, we have 2 paragraphs so far, as of yesterday. So this is the very first time that I'm going to read a little bit of work in progress, because that only is a little bit. Almere has plans. It aims to be one of the greatest cities in the world. Its boundaries are deliberately set larger than the area covered by Greater London. Schiphol, the national airport, is to be moved within these boundaries, and a great tunnel is to run beneath the already 12-lane highway into Amsterdam. And one day, Amsterdam is to be a mere suburb of Almere. A great green city? Yes, most certainly, at the moment. Where I live, 10 kilometers from the city centre, I can walk straight out into mature woods, every tree planted by hand 30 years ago, and see beavers, wild boar, and roe deer. And there's a local goshawk. In the woodland, I have seen and heard more warblers than in the rest of my life put together. So, you see, it's in some ways a wonderful, startling, happy place. And a week ago, I brought this back from the woods. Look at this. The beavers came here and they thought, all this construction, every week, 2 new houses, we'll join in. Bang, knocking down the trees all over the place. So, I'm a happy man. Now, there's another paragraph here, and then after this little introduction to the book, we will go back to 12,000 years ago and trace the history of the settlement here. And in the meantime, of course, the sea will come in and out. So I thought I might persuade some extreme Protestant from Urk to take me out. We might go fishing. It's a wonderful, long story, but it certainly starts at 12,000. I think that's far enough back. Now, this is just a description. The city is laid out in small towns, all of a different character. Where I live, the growing settlement of Nobelhorst, and it really is growing, several new houses each week, is a grand experiment in city living. Perhaps an answer to how we will house our growing population for centuries to come. And to my great surprise, I'm beginning to like it. From my modest penthouse, I like that word very much. I look out over, well, all of it. And I'm beginning to think this is the best place to retire and admire the sight of so many men working so hard way beneath me, while I have a glass of wine or two. On my balcony is heaven.